All right, let's jump right in.
Sounds good to me.
We're diving deep into the world of the new AirPods 4 today.
Oh, yeah, lots to talk about with these.
We've got a whole stack of reviews here. Tech
Yeah.
Radar, Tom's Guide, Sound Guys, Digital Trends.
Yeah, they seem to be getting a lot of attention.
And for good reason, right?
Yeah.
2 brand new models, tons of new features, and
And not to mention that whole active noise cancellation with an open ear design thing.
yeah, that's a big one.
Like, is that even possible? We'll have to see what the reviewers say.
For sure. I'm really curious about that. So before we get into the specifics, I got to ask, what's the overall vibe? Are these a worthy upgrade?
I think, for the most part, yeah.
Okay.
Especially for people who are already deep in the Apple world, you know?
Yeah, makes sense.
Sound Guys actually called them the best value AirPods ever.
Best value, huh? That's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah, it is.
What makes them stand out in that regard?
Well, I think for the price, they're offering a really solid set of features, especially when you consider how seamlessly they integrate with Apple devices.
True. You can't really beat Apple when it comes to that kind of ecosystem magic.
Right.
But okay, let's talk about what really matters. How do they actually sound?
Ah, the million-dollar question.
Yeah, because I'm always a little skeptical of earbuds, those tiny little things.
Yeah.
But I've been pleasantly surprised in the past. So what are the reviews saying about the AirPods 4?
Most of them seem to agree that the sound quality is a definite step up from previous AirPods,
Okay, good to hear.
especially when it comes to the bass.
Oh, nice.
Tech Radar even used words like fun and dynamic to describe the sound.
That sounds promising.
Tom's Guide also chimed in, praising the richer bass and crisper highs.
Okay, I'm intrigued. But, there's got to be a catch, right? It can't all be sunshine and rainbows.
Well, yeah, there are a few caveats.
Okay, like what?
A lot of the reviewers pointed out that while the overall sound is good, they do lack some of the finer details you might find in other earbuds.
Interesting. So good for casual listening, but maybe not for audiophiles.
That's kind of the consensus, yeah.
Okay. And I guess this kind of ties into the whole open-ear design thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Which I get it. It can be more comfortable for some people. But I also imagine that outside noise is a pretty constant issue.
Yeah, that was definitely a point of contention among the reviewers.
Oh, really?
Some of them loved the open-ear design, others hated it.
Interesting.
Sound Guys even shared a funny anecdote about how their office turned into like a battleground of opinions when they all tried them on.
Wow. So really divisive.
Yeah, it seems like it really boils down to personal preference and how well they actually fit in your ears.
So maybe try before you buy, if you can.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. Did any of the reviewers find a silver lining to the whole open ear thing, though?
Actually, Digital Trends made a good point. They found it really helpful for phone calls.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, because you can hear yourself talk naturally, which can be a problem with noise-isolating earbuds.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I've definitely had moments where I sound like I'm in a tunnel when I'm on a call with those.
Totally. All right, let's get to the main event here. Active noise cancellation in an open-ear design.
The magic trick, right?
Yeah, is that even possible?
Yeah.
I'm really curious what the reviewers thought.
Apparently it is.
Really?
At least according to Tom's Guide. They were actually blown away by how well the ANC works on the AirPods 4.
Wow. Color me surprised.
Yeah, they even tested them on flights and trains and everything.
That's impressive.
It sounds like Apple's using some pretty clever tech to make it work, like beam-forming microphones and some advanced software algorithms.
Huh. That's pretty cool. So how does it affect the sound quality when the ANC is on?
It doesn't seem to have a huge impact.
Good.
The overall quality stays pretty consistent.
Okay.
But there is a noticeable hit on battery life, which is pretty typical for ANC.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Tom's Guide mentioned that the battery life with ANC isn't quite as good as the AirPods Pro 2, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So maybe not ideal for long-haul flights if you're planning on using the noise cancellation.
Yeah, probably something to keep in mind. Okay, but let's talk about the Apple ecosystem integration.
Ah, yes, the Apple magic.
Because it's going to be pretty seamless, right?
You would think so.
From what I've read, it's even better than before.
Oh, wow.
Sound Guys was raving about the spatial audio with head tracking.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
They said it makes watching movies a whole new experience.
Cool. And of course, you've got the automatic device switching.
Oh, yeah. That's always a nice touch.
So you can just seamlessly jump between your iPhone, your iPad, your Mac.
Exactly. Makes life a little bit easier.
I gotta admit, that's pretty tempting. But let's be real, not everyone lives in an all-Apple world.
True,
And
yeah.
Tech Radar made a good point about that.
Oh, yeah.
If you're using non-Apple devices, you basically lose out on all those fancy features.
Oof, that's a bummer.
No multi-point pairing, so you're stuck manually switching between devices.
Yeah, that can be a pain.
So maybe not the best choice for those who are platform agnostic, huh?
It depends on your priorities, really.
Yeah.
If seamless integration with Apple devices is your top priority, then the AirPods 4 are probably a good fit.
Right.
But if you're looking for earbuds that play nicely with everything, you might want to consider some alternatives.
Okay, good to know. Oh, before we move on, can we talk about the head gestures for a sec?
Oh yeah, the head nods.
Nodding to answer calls.
Wow.
That's like straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Isn't it?
I'm curious, does it actually work well?
It seems like it does.
Oh,
Apparently, you can answer or decline calls with a simple nod or shake of your head.
I'm trying to picture that.
Digital Trends even said it was surprisingly satisfying to reject spam calls with a dramatic head shake.
I can imagine. That's awesome.
Oh,
All right, let's wrap up this part of our deep dive with some of the more practical stuff.
sure.
What's the word on battery life?
It seems to be decent, but as we mentioned, the ANC does take a toll on it.
Yeah, that figures.
Tom's guide was a bit disappointed that it couldn't last through a cross-country flight on a single charge.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And you still got the pinch controls,
Yeah.
but no on-ear volume adjustment, unfortunately.
Oh, really? That seems like a miss at this price point.
Yeah, I agree. Having to pull out your phone every time you want to change the volume is a bit annoying.
For sure. What else is there?
They do have IP54 water resistance, which is nice.
Oh, yeah, that's always good.
And Digital Trends pointed out that the charging case is surprisingly small.
Oh, that's good for portability.
But they did make a big deal about Apple no longer including a charging cable, though.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Bold move, Apple. Bold move.
I guess they're really pushing the eco-friendly angle.
Makes sense. So we've covered a lot of ground here. Sound quality, noise cancellation, head gestures.
That's a lot to take in.
But what does it all mean? Are these AirPods 4 actually worth the investment?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Well, stay tuned, because in part 2, we're going to tackle the value proposition head on and compare these buds to some of the other big players in the earbud world.
Looking forward to it.
You won't want to miss it.
I'll be here.
All right, we'll be back in a flash.
See you soon. All right, so are these AirPods 4 worth the price tag? What do you think?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? I mean, we've heard a lot of good things.
We have.
The sound quality seems solid. Apple integration is always a plus. Those head gestures sound kind of cool.
Right, but
Like,
there's a lot of competition out there.
exactly. So let's break it down. Who are these AirPods 4 really for?
Well, it seems like the reviewers agree that if you're all in on the Apple ecosystem,
Okay.
then these are a great choice.
Yeah.
Sound Guys basically said that for Apple diehards, their AirPods 4 are a no-brainer.
Because of that seamless integration, right?
Yeah, that just works experience.
I mean, that's always been Apple's strong point.
Right, like imagine just taking them out of the case. And they instantly connect to your phone, your computer, your watch, everything.
It's just magic.
It is.
But Tech Radar seemed a little less enthusiastic about the value proposition, didn't they?
Yeah, they did bring up the fact that for the same price, you can get earbuds with a lot more features.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
They specifically mentioned the Sony WFC700N
Okay.
and the Nothing Ear.
Right. So it's kind of a trade-off then.
It is.
Apple integration versus a more feature-packed experience.
Exactly. What do you value more?
Right. What about sound quality? Did that factor into the value discussion at all?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone agreed that the AirPods 4 sound good, but some of the reviewers felt like other earbuds in the same price range offered more detail.
That's interesting.
Tech Radar actually said that the AirPods 4 lack the realism and deep satisfaction of competitors like the Sony WFC700N.
So maybe not for the audiophiles then.
Probably not.
Okay. What about the ANC model? How does that compare value-wise?
Well, Tom's Guide was really impressed with the ANC, especially considering the open-ear design.
Yeah.
But they did mention that the battery life takes a hit when you have it turned on.
That makes sense.
It doesn't last as long as the AirPods Pro 2.
Right. So maybe not the best choice for people with long commutes.
Yeah, unless you don't mind charging them more often.
True.
Hmm.
Were there any other drawbacks that stood out to you in terms of value?
Well, a lot of reviewers complained about the lack of on-ear volume control.
Oh, right. You still have to pull out your phone to adjust the volume.
Yeah, which seems kind of weird at this price point.
Agreed. It's like a basic feature these days.
It is.
What else?
Oh, and the lack of multi-point pairing was a bummer for some people,
Yeah, that makes sense.
especially if you use a mix of Apple and non-Apple devices.
Right, because then you lose that seamless switching.
Exactly.
So it really seems like the AirPods